All right, everyone there in YouTube land. So we are back again with another ranking video. This time on the only band that matters, The Clash, and kind of keeping this one concise because I was going through, their discography, and I always considered Black Market Clash and Super Black Market Clash as sort of EPs, but they're more compilations and they're not to be missed. They're required listening, actually, especially side 2 of this one. And then also, this is Radio Clash, and I really wanted to include Cost of Living EP, but as soon as I phased everything else out, it's like, okay, this is just going to be the studio albums, so we'll rank them bottom to top. So it's only 6 releases. In a very, very short time, this band made a huge splash and incredible influence, and yeah, my favorite punk band for sure. Joe Strummer, my favorite, frontman in punk. Mick Jones and all his contributions, of course. Paul Simonon and Topper Headon. Though there was Terry Chimes in the group too, so we don't want to forget him. But that's kind of the seminal era where those 4, Topper, Mick, Paul, and Joe. And then of course there were tons of members at the end of the group's life, but that's another story for right now. So number 6 is Cut the Crap, and very controversially, when I was getting into The Clash, I actually kind of preferred this over Give 'Em Enough Rope, which is crazy to say because the songs aren't really there on this one. Though I do hear good stuff in there. I don't think it's a complete wreck like everyone else does, and it was on the Train Records thing, and some people call it one of the worst albums of all time. I think that's just because the expectations were so high. I do think This Is England is cool. I think We Are the Clash is kind of dumb and ironic because, they're screaming, "We are the Clash," and it's like, no, you're not. You're like a fake Clash almost. Joe, Paul, and a bunch of nobodies. And the production is way too busy. The songwriting's not quite there anymore. But I kind of like how busy the production is, rather. Like on Dictator, all these weird sounds are going in and out, and it's almost like they're trying to do Big Audio Dynamite, but it just sounds so dated and weird, and I don't know. It's like, what were they thinking? But yeah, a great single came out of this. This Is England, and I don't really think this is a torturous listen. Really, I think there's a lot of fun in here. Just, I don't know, just bad ideas, and considering they put the Clash's name on it, it's like, well, I'm not too sure about that one. So number 5 is going to be Give 'Em Enough Rope, which I had to kind of refamiliarize myself with because, it's lodged in between the debut and London Calling, and a lot of people forget about it almost. And it's sort of like, to me, it's like the debut with worse production, or to complement it, it's the debut but with better drumming, maybe? I think so, especially on Tommy Gun, of course. But yeah, the whole EP, or LP rather, and this is the stepping stone from doing all the straight punk stuff to incorporating other sounds, and reggae, of course, would go in there when all the singles started to come out, non-album singles, like White Man and Hammersmith Palace and stuff like that. So, you gotta have Give 'Em Enough Rope. That's the stepping stone to the next era. And, very important. I think side A is way stronger than side B. All those 5 songs are really good. Safe European Home, which has a teaser kind of to Ruby Can't Fail, which would be on the next LP, of course, one of my favorite tracks from London Calling. And, Tommy Gun, like I said. The B-side, Guns on the Roof. There's some good stuff on there. I gotta say, though, All of the Young Punks is probably my least favorite Clash song, at least from the Joe Strummer, Mick Jones era or whatever. And Cheapskates is good, but, the album kind of goes downhill a bit. Like, it's not quite as good as the 3 that come before it or whatever. And then people are gonna say, well, why do you own this, but you don't give them enough rope. Well, you know, the way the collection has evolved is a strange, strange thing, let me tell you. So number 4 is going to be the debut right there. And of course there's a UK version, a US version. I always thought they could just amalgamate both together and have one big album with all the songs you would want on it. And it still wouldn't be long enough to fill a CD because, you know, these are very quick, concise tracks. You know, Police and Thieves, their cover of it. Both versions quite a big hit now. I don't know if it charted at the time, but I hear it around, you know. What's My Name? Oh, that one's so much fun. What's my name? This one actually does put White Man in Hammersmith Palace on, interestingly. Janie Jones is a highlight. Remote Control, Complete Control. Those two songs are probably two of my favorites from the, you know, old school era Clash. They evolved so fast, though, because, you know, a year later, Give 'Em Enough Rope, and then London Calling, and they're a completely different band, and, you know, they're more, they say phony Beatlemania is bitten the dust, but, you know, they're kind of writing more like the Beatles and not like punks anymore, you know? So, yeah, I mean, what a great debut. There's not a bad song on here. And a lot of people go, well, that should be number 2 or whatever, but, you know, I like the more varied sounds of the ones coming up here. So in the number 3 slot, this is the one I'd love to have on vinyl the most, surprisingly, but it's number 3. Sandinista, 1980. Just showing how fast they evolve, you know. This is only 3 years after the debut, 1 year after London Calling. They fought the record label to charge, because I guess this came out as a triple LP, I guess. And they fought with their record label to charge, you know, less money for like a single LP or whatever. So they lost a lot of money on it, but they were kind of, you know, trying to take it back to the streets and give it to the fans or whatever. The Magnificent Seven is maybe, on some days, my favorite Clash song. And then for a lot of people, the record hits a wall right after the fun and excitement out of that one into Hitsville, UK. I love that song. Into Junko Partner, which is kind of dub reggae. Ivan Meets G.I. Joe sounds like you're trapped in like a pinball machine in a good way. And The Leader, which has kind of a gospel tinge to it. I think those 5 songs just make this a classic right there. But Lightning Strikes is great. Sounds of Sinners, Police on My Back, great version of that. Charlie Don't Surf, which, looking at the Spotify numbers, has kind of become the big song from this, which is crazy. And Street Parade, I love that one so much. You know, the side D, or the, you know, kind of latter half of disc 2, if you're listening on CD, I get why people lose interest by then, but, and it is kind of random by then, but I don't know, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. I'd never call it a consistent listen, but like the White Album by the Beatles, it's never consistent, but it's always fascinating, and it's fun to hear the group at the height of their powers, with the budget they needed to deliver, you know, a sprawling masterwork, you know, with warts and all. Number 2 is Combat Rock, which for years and years and years was my favorite Clash album. But, you know, I would agree that it's not as consistent as London Calling. It starts off guns a-blazing with Know Your Rights, car jamming, one of my favorite Clash songs ever. Should I Stay or Should I Go? So overplayed. But when you sit down and listen to it, it's like, yeah, that's a fun song. Same with Rock the Casbah. That one got so overplayed, but I think it remains in my top 10 Clash songs. It's just brilliant. And the tragedy of it, or travesty, is that Topper, you know, he composed it and everything, and it was like 90% his, and then, you know, they lost him to drugs, and not physically, but they booted him out of the group, and then they shot the music video with that song, which was to become like their biggest hit in the mainstream, at least. And he's not in the video, and, you know, I don't know how they worked out the songwriting credits or whatever, but yeah, that's so sad. Straight to Hell, which I wish it was the extended version. Love that song, of course, popularized by MIA's brilliant sampling and Paper Planes, her biggest hit. I wouldn't say one of her best songs, but man, what a song. It's solid. Love it. Love it so much. And then you know, the album goes a little Sandinista after there, like it's varying levels of quality. But I wouldn't say any of the songs are bad. You know, Sean Flynn is a nice kind of relaxing one. Ghetto Defendant is great. Adam Tana is a lot of fun. Overpowered by Funk is funky, of course. I'm just not big on Death is a Star. Like, it makes the album go out with a whimper, and you have to turn up the music, and it's not really worth it. Like, Mick's kind of just rambling away, and yeah. So, so that's probably the only song I don't like off that one. And then number 1 is London Calling, of course. The amazing London Calling. What else can you say about it, right? But they definitely weren't a punk band anymore by now. But yeah, great rock music, great reggae, great pop, great 50s throwbacks, you know, Hateful, Rudy Can't Fail. I mean, I can name every song, of course, but Guns of Brixton, which, you know, that one gets sampled a lot, but yeah, interesting song with Paul taking lead vocals on that one. A rare feat, of course. And then, you know, when they slow down in the latter half, like on Lover's Rock and stuff like that, great stuff, great stuff. Yeah. Just one of the best records of all time. And, you know, 1979 feels like an 80s record. It came out right at the end there. And, yeah, I mean, what a band. What a moment in time, I guess, you know, flash of lightning. Lightning strikes not once, but twice. And, yeah, gotta love The Clash. An interesting discography in, like, a 5-year time, if you don't count Cut the Crap. Brilliant, just brilliant stuff. You know, we'll for always love The Clash, of course. And, yeah, because there's only 6, I mean, let me know your top 6 in the comments, and we'll come back next week with a couple more videos. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Love all the comments and all that, and even the weird ones. And yeah, peace out, everyone. Thanks for watching.